I invested over $100,000 into my football career just to miss 5 tackles at my first game at IMG Academy. And here's what I learned. So, first, I want to give you a little context to what was going on at this point in my life. I was at Green Bay Southwest my sophomore year, had a pretty decent season, went all conference as a running back and a linebacker. Thought I was a little bit of a big shot, even though I really wasn't. But I decided to transfer to IMG Academy because our team at Southwest I knew wouldn't serve me to my biggest potential. And I understood at this point that I had to take big risks to get big rewards. Our team, my sophomore year, was 1-9. I was one of the best players, and I felt limited by my environment. We had one other guy going D1. The coaches didn't believe and support in him as much as I would have hoped for being one of the best players. And then I just felt stuck with pulling other guys along to try to match my energy and effort in what I was looking to get out of football. There wasn't the same mentality that I wanted, so I knew that I had to make a switch. And I've been blessed enough to have two parents that support me tremendously and have been completely on board with everything I want to do. And I thought at this point, the right move was to go to IMG Academy. I had been out there for some camps previously, and I told the coaching staff, yeah, I'm not going to come out here right now, but I think my junior year, that's going to be the time where I want to go. And stuck to my word, that was the right opportunity for myself. But I get out there, competition is definitely a little bit different than Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I absolutely have a rough game. We'll just say that for the first one. Missed 5 tackles, had a touchdown scored on me. Really wasn't fun because I knew my family had supported me so much and invested so much, all for me to just have an opportunity to go here, really. And that was one of the biggest things I learned is you just need to put yourself in a position to have the opportunity. Put yourself in a position to have one conversation with someone that could completely change your life, because I inherently knew this when I was a little younger, but I didn't fully understand it. I went to the IMG Academy camp for an opportunity to get developed, and I happened to do pretty good when I was there, and they were really interested in me going back out to IMG Academy. I had one conversation with a coach saying, yeah, we want you here. We want you to be a player and to come build with our team. And really, that was one opportunity and one conversation that completely changed my life, because if he never had that conversation with me, or I never heard him out, I was too stubborn to hear him out. If one of those two things were the case, I would have never went to IMG Academy. I wouldn't be here at Furman. The odds are I would be a D1 player right now are pretty small. But everything in my life has led up to this exact moment. I wouldn't change any of it because all I was looking for was an opportunity. Now, taking you back to that game, missed the 5 tackles and had a touchdown scored on me. It wasn't fun at all. But also I started to understand the resilience of what type of person would I be. Pissed me off for sure, because I thought I was a lot better than that. I didn't play like I thought I should have. And I knew that, man, now there's really levels to football. I didn't quite understand it this much. And this was the varsity team for IMG. It wasn't the national team either. Still had a lot of ballers on our team. 15 or 20 guys still went D1. But it definitely showed that there were levels to it and that I need to step things up if I want to get to where I want to go. And I started to really viscerally understand the percentages of who actually goes D1. 2% of guys make it. And I thought I was one of those 2% of guys when I got there. I thought I already had a bunch of stuff figured out. I went all conference in Wisconsin. I thought I was a baller. But it turned out that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And I got exposed when I was there. And that was a tough realization. But that was probably one of the best things that had ever happened to me. Because if I stayed in Wisconsin, stayed at my school where I was tearing it up, where I had 75 tackles as a sophomore, a bunch of tackles for loss, some sacks, doing really well, I would have been comfortable the entire time. I never really would have gotten exposed in the same manner. I wouldn't have had to challenge myself that, man, I'm not good enough right now, I wouldn't have had that thought. I wouldn't have had the thought that I need to improve because I was doing really well. So I changed my environment where now instead of being the very top, I was honestly probably towards the bottom, right? I wasn't an instant baller. I didn't dominate right away, but that's exactly what I needed. I needed to be humbled. I thought I was a little bit of a big shot because I made some things happen, but it showed me that there are really levels to it and where I fell. And that was one of the biggest realizations that really changed my life. It put things into perspective for me. Perspective is one of the most valuable things that you will ever receive in your entire life. And that was a moment for me that will forever stick out. Because of everything that I said, I realized I wasn't where I needed to be, and a lot of things had to change to reach my goals. So I started to develop some resilience. I knew that I would have to change the way I was doing things physically, mentally. I would have to take things to the next level to continue to be successful. And right away for me, that looked like a lot mentally. Starting to really believe in my ability and my confidence that I was the type of guy that was a D1 football player. I was the type of guy who was capable of succeeding. And that took a lot of mental work with the staff they had there. Truly thankful for everything they've done for me on that regard. But I had to shift my thoughts about myself. Because after that first game, I didn't know if I was going to be that D1 type of guy. There was a ton of doubts in my mind, and my parents had just invested so much money and time and effort, and me leaving the home early when I think I was 16 when I left to go chase my dreams. My parents supported me an unbelievable amount, and I felt like it was a disappointment that I didn't do well. They were at the game, wasn't fun. But what I started to understand is I could either sulk about it and just be done and be like, yeah, that's that. My D1 chances, they're written off right when my junior year started. Or I could change something, and that's exactly what I did. I ended up finishing the season with about 35 tackles. I think it was 5 or 7 tackles for loss. It's nothing crazy, but definitely turned around. And nothing changed about myself physically in that time. Not much development can happen through in season physically, but mentally, that's where everything had changed for myself. I started to believe and act like I was already that D1 version of Jacob. I started to take the coaching better. I understood that every coaching moment was an opportunity for me to get closer to where I wanted to go, not something where I'm a failure because I need to get coached. No, they're helping me to get where we want to go as a team and for myself as a player. And I took that very personally and was able to take all the coaching much better. And what do you know? My season ends and I am a lot better player. Still, wasn't where I wanted it to be, of course. And I came back for my senior year, and my parents still invested a lot into me to get me there another semester. And that's where things really took off. Because I had another opportunity to go show what I was made of. In that entire offseason, really one of the best off seasons of my life, the best up until that point for sure. Even though I was working really hard, but it felt like I was spinning my wheels at times, that maybe I wasn't getting the results that I'd wanted. But I get out to my senior year, and it's a whole different guy, both physically, but more importantly, I think mentally was really what took things over the edge for me. Because going into the first game, I wasn't sure the type of player I was going to be. I knew I was physically prepared, but mentally, a little spotty, in all honesty. I had a really good confidence in general, but this time I was a little concerned. I trained at home the entire spring semester, so I didn't have access to anyone at IMG. I had to figure it out on my own. That's why I learned how to do this training thing and help other guys and coach other guys. But I had to do that all for myself and absolutely make the most of the opportunity. And definitely did that in a really good way. And I go out to my senior year, first game, 15 tackles and 5 tackles for loss. Doesn't get too much better than that. Physically, I was there, but mentally, I started to realize, yes, I started to live even more into that I was a D1 player and that no one was going to stop me from my goals. And that was some of the biggest things that I learned. A lot of it is both if you're doing things physically, you have to understand the mentality and the part really between the ears that's going to help you get there. Because I've noticed that at Furman too. It's a little different for myself. I didn't have that same confidence coming into my freshman year here. I walked on. I knew I'd have an uphill battle to go, and I did really well in fall, but this previous spring, not so much. Nothing changed physically. I was battling some injuries, but I was still the same guy, but everything changed mentally, and I've been able to take a step back now and realize that, and I've refocused and I feel extremely confident going into the season and what I'm going to be able to do and build for our team. All because of where it happened and all the things that happened to me mentally and my opportunity to go to IMG, because it all started with an opportunity and my parents truly supporting me and believing in my best intentions. They didn't know if IMG was going to be the right move. Everyone in my family had uncertainty, but we still took the action because they fully supported my vision and believed in what I could do. They didn't need to know it would work for certain. They were just willing to give me an opportunity, and if I believed in it, they were willing to go for it. They believed in it too, but they weren't as certain as I was, for sure, and they had their doubts. We had to work over things logistically, but they believed in my decision that, yes, IMG Academy is what I want to do. Because even if they wanted me to go to IMG Academy more than I want to go to IMG Academy, I would not have seen that success. You have to believe in what you are doing in your training and your development. And a lot of times your parents have their best interest for you in mind, but at the end of the day, it is your football career and your football future. And at times, you have to make your own decision and tell your parents, yes, this is what I want to do. And I had to do a little bit of that. We decided we were almost going to transfer to another school in the district. I think they would have liked that maybe a little bit more. But I said, no, IMG Academy is what I want to do, right? And they were willing to back me behind it when I had that conviction. And if I didn't believe in my ability to succeed at IMG and maybe I listened to my parents and we decided to stay in the district, would I be D1? I don't know. Maybe I still would have been. But when I had that belief in what my training was going to do and all my development, it allowed me to speak to my parents. They were able to invest into my future and give me the opportunity to succeed with this entire thing. It's because it was what I wanted. I was able to speak with them. And even though they weren't 100% certain, I wasn't either. We decided this was going to be the right move for sure. And of course, it paid off a little bit. I don't know. Furman's a pretty nice spot. Looks pretty back there. That's pretty cool. But definitely the right school for me, and everything I've done has led me up until this point, allowing you to hear my voice right now. I'm able to serve so many other athletes and really follow my passion of playing football, but then also coaching guys who are in a similar position to me to make it to that next level. And really, that was what I wanted to cover for today. All you really need is an opportunity, one conversation, a little bit of conviction talking to your parents, a little bit of resilience when things hit the fan, that you can come back from it and achieve everything that you want. I believe in you. I know you're going to succeed. Keep working. If you ever need anything, reach out to me and I'll help you out. If not, have a great day. Keep crushing it and keep chasing your dreams.